Hey guys, my name is Ryan.
And I'm Misko.
Welcome to Overwatch Central Quick Start Guides, a set of guides going over heroes in as much detail as we can go into in regards to their strengths and weaknesses, whilst keeping the videos fairly short, about 5 minutes or less. Today we are going over Winston.
Winston is a tank that's good at harassing backline heroes. He wields the Tesla cannon, a lightning-based weapon which primary fire snaps onto a target, dealing damage over time for as long as you hold down the trigger. Winston's first ability is the jump pack, which allows him to launch himself forward through the air, dealing low damage and knocking people back when he lands. The barrier projector is a bubble-shaped projected shield that protects Winston and his allies. Everyone on your team can shoot through it, whilst enemies can't. And finally, Winston's ultimate ability is Primal Rage, which transforms Winston into a wild beast that increases his health, but only allows him to deal damage with melee attacks and his jump pack. His melee attacks also feature a strong knockback.
Reclaiming objectives by quickly establishing a basic defense is Winston's expertise. Quickly jumping onto a payload or control point and putting down a shield allows your allies to defend that objective with you, and is also very good for initiating a push. Winston is also an incredibly good pick on any maps that you can knock heroes off the side of. His ultimates make it really easy for you to push enemies around, which means that your low damage output doesn't really matter in a lot of cases.
Overall, Winston's damage is quite low, so it takes a few moments for him to kill someone. This gives the enemy team a bit of reaction time, which can put Winston in a difficult situation. This is where you'd normally jump pack out of the engagement, but if your abilities are on cooldown, then you're just a big sitting duck that's incredibly easy to headshot.
When playing Winston, you should always be looking out for backline supports and snipers. Widowmaker and Hanzo will both struggle if you keep jumping at them when playing Winston. With a bit of luck, you'll even knock them off their vantage points when landing next to them. Even if you don't manage to actually kill them, it's great to just keep them busy whilst your team hopefully pushes an objective. Genji is another hero that you're pretty effective against. Initiate with a jump pack just like you would normally, and then keep zapping him until he tries to run away. If he swift strikes, you could just jump after him. And finally, we'd also like to mention how easily Winston can take out symmetry turrets. Sentry turret nests can be a nightmare for a lot of characters, but just walking into a room with sentry turrets and quickly sweeping the walls with your Tesla cannon should eliminate most, if not all of them. As far as fighting Symmetra is concerned, you have a little bit of an advantage, but it is just a case of killing her before she kills you, which can often be tricky.
We mentioned earlier that Winston is quite easy to headshot. This means that high damage output heroes like Reaper and definitely McCree can burst you down quickly without any issues. Don't initiate on someone that's close to either of these, especially McCree. His flashbang allows him to comfortably line up a Fanday hammer to Winston's face. You should also be on the lookout for D.Va. This might seem like an odd one for us to mention, but she deals a pretty hefty amount of damage on close range. If you're contesting a point with a D.Va on it, you will need help from your team. She can tank your damage and also deal more damage than you. This means that she will win if you're both just aiming at each other whilst holding down the left mouse button.
So when should you play as Winston? Well, to begin with, we said that Winston is great for attacking maps. He can jump onto objectives or payloads and protect them with his shield whilst his team moves into position. But in reality, he can be used pretty effectively on defense as well. His ability to jump into the offensive heroes and cause enough of a distraction can be important for the team. Not only that, his ultimate can be used to protect the objective if contested. He's certainly a very important pick if a Widowmaker on the enemy team is racking up the kills. And not to mention, Winston is also a very strong pick on control maps for these reasons.
The way to play Winston is all about being as annoying as possible to the enemy team and being a constant sustaining threat on the back line. This means that a lot of emphasis is put on Winston's positioning and use of his leap. Make sure that you're leaping into an area, putting a shield down, doing as much damage as you can, and then once your leap comes off cooldown, you want to be getting out of there. Jump out, grab some health, and then rinse and repeat to make sure you're constantly involved in the fights. And also make sure to keep an eye out for heroes that are retreating on low health. You can jump these and easily pick up a few kills with your Tesla cannon. Not only is your shield good for protecting yourself from the outside world, but it's also a great ability that can bottle damage within the sphere. Jumping to a tourbillon turret and popping the shield down on it means that it cannot damage anything out of the barrier, meaning that teammates can get close to it and take it out. Not only that, if you have good reactions, you can throw the barrier down on hard-hitting abilities and ultimates like Reaper's Death Blossom, McCree's High Noon, and so forth. Out of all the ultimates in the game, Winston's is one of the most underwhelming when it comes to dealing damage, but it has a lot of utility roles. First and foremost, you should be aiming to separate heroes from one another, so your team can pick them off. Pushing mercies away from their team can be a great way to kill both heroes, and not only that, if you're near to a drop, you can knock these heroes off the sides of the map. At the most, you are there to be a nuisance to the enemy team, make some space on objectives for the rest of your team, or just tank some damage off a big attack from the enemy team.
And that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Are you looking forward to playing Winston? Is there anything that you think we should have mentioned that you think we've missed? Do let us know in the comments below and like this video if you want to see the rest of the guides as soon as possible. And until next time, take care and we will see you then.